Last night was probably the roughest night of our week. We are at the BLM camp, just about 5 miles from Tucson, from Kennedy Park, and it is covered in rocks and glass, and it is hot. It is really hot. But here we rested for our final leg, and we get up this morning and we are joined by other members of our group who weren't able to walk with us during the week, but have come for the last part to celebrate the completion of this week, but to also stand in solidarity with those who have walked before. We rise this morning and head up the hill. Actually, there's a cliff right there, and we head up there looking over the vast desert that we just crossed. It took us 5 days to get here, and that was with a fleet of support vehicles, ample water and food, and plenty of support and protection. It was still dangerous, but not nearly as dangerous as those who are trying to come here just to survive, just to find a way to escape the violence and provide for their families. So let's head up. It's here on this ledge that we have one of 2 closing ceremonies as we look over the vast desert, and we can see Baba Kiveri way off in the distance. That's where we came from 5 days ago. Bonds have been made here on the Migrant Trail, bonds with one another as well as with the person whose cross that we carry, and with the unnamed migrants who still remain out in the desert, some who may never be found. During the ceremony, we give thanks for this land. We give thanks for this community. We bless the desert that allowed us to walk through. And think about how might we be different as we go home. Will anything change? After the ritual of sharing and fellowship with one another and the final blessings, we share once more the Migrant Trail vision statement before we make our final steps into Tucson. The precarious reality of our borderlands calls us to walk. We are a spiritually diverse, multicultural group who walk together on a journey of peace to remember people, friends, and family, all who have died, others who have crossed, and people who continue to come. We bear witness to the tragedy of death and of the inhumanity in our midst. Lastly, we make this sacred journey as a community, in defiance of the borders that attempt to divide us, committed to working together for the human dignity of all peoples. After 6 days of walking, listening, and engaging in this virtual migrant trail, what are you feeling physically? How are you emotionally? How has your spirit been nurtured this week? How are you being changed?
So here we are. We've arrived. We've walked 75 miles. We made it. But the women and the men, the children, the sisters and brothers, the peoples whose names were on the crosses that we carried, they didn't make it. But their spirits will remain with us forever. We have a lot of emotions when we come here to Kennedy. Our friends in Tucson join us and walk in the last period. We cry, we remember, we pray, we hold these people up. We know them now. It's a poignant moment. Death in the borderlands. Ya hemos llegado, aquí estamos en el Parque Kennedy. Ya hemos llegado con las cruces de nuestros hermanos, hermanas, de los niños sin nombres. Ellos nunca llegaron. Nunca llegaron. Pero no vamos a nunca olvidar de estas personas. Los tenemos grabados en nuestros corazones. Cuando uno llega aquí al parque tiene mucha emoción, tristeza, mucha tristeza. Pero hemos llegado. Y desgraciadamente el año que viene lo haremos otra vez, en memoria de todos nuestros hermanos y hermanas que van a fallecer en el desierto este año. We have a ceremony at the end of the caminata, at the end of our walk. That's a sacred ceremony. Father Bob has done it for years. He washes the feet of those who walk. It's a very moving ceremony. It's an incredible blessing. He'd like to share some words with you. Y no tenemos una ceremonia ya cuando terminamos la caminata. Un compañero nuestro, sacerdote, Bob, lava los pies a las personas que han caminado. Es algo muy importante, muy sagrado. I invite you to join us. Los invitamos que participen. Gracias. Adelante.
Good afternoon. And we are here at the end of the Migrant Walk. And each year we gather in this park with first come our brothers and sisters who live out on the land, the Ton Autumn, who have taught us so many things about surviving in the desert and leaving as little a footprint as possible along the way. Because their land is sacred, and all land is sacred, and and along with that are the animals, everything that lives in the desert, coexisting with one another. This started such a long time ago with the Hohokam, living up in around the Flag area, and then down to the Nogales area, hunters and gatherers. They soon became very, very wise in the ways of irrigation and canals and growing their foodstuffs so that they were able then to stay in one place. They traded with others. But all of this became something very holy to them because we were coexisting in the same place. Well, that kind of gets lost in along the way, somewhere along the way. But we bring it together here at this park when we come from different parts of the country, different parts around the world. And to make this walk from Mexico up to Tucson, to bring attention to the desperate plight of our brothers and sisters who have done nothing to deserve what happens to them, but have done everything to offer their goodness, their kindness, their compassion, their hospitality to others. So in this, we wish to offer hospitality to those who come rather than separating them at the border, putting them in detention. We bring attention to that by this migrant walk. Coming here to the park, we thought it would be important for us to use the elements of water, and what is sacred to the people is sacred to us also. Water is the essential need of the desert, and it is not to be wasted, and it is to be made precious. And so we turned that into something that I learned from a teacher of mine long ago, who washed the feet of his followers. That story moved me so deeply that it has been the core of my ministry or whatever it is that I'm doing at the time. I think the symbolism of washing the feet of another brings us to a place of humility, not of humility, of humbleness, of compassion for the other. When I knelt down to wash the feet of someone and say a blessing or a prayer, and I look up and I see their eyes and I see their love, the love that they have for others. That's why they do what they do. They're students, they are teachers, they are ministers, we come from all parts of our society, our culture, to this one moment in time when we say, this must end. We cannot coexist in this kind of environment. And so it's my hope that a simple act of washing feet will be translated by others as a simple help along the way, just to help one another along the way. I thank you for your time and call upon our Creator, the God of love, to bless you and keep you safe. Thank you.
It's been a long journey, some 75 miles. As it comes to a close, we give thanks for our safe arrival and hold in our hearts those thousands who never make it. We pray for the day when the deaths will stop, when borders will be places of opportunity and learning rather than fear and separation. We pray for the day when the words that are emblazoned on the Statue of Liberty will actually be true, when we can celebrate one another. Thank you for joining us on this virtual Migrant Trail Walk this year. We hope that we will be able to gather again in person next year. Please be safe.
Mis derechos a pelear, mi virgencita, Guadalupe, oye estos pasos que todo